Check, check, check. Who is it? This is Appman. Appman who? Oh man, your appetite. Don't forget to eat. Friends, we are back again with another genius who has proven his worth in the tech industry. 8 global offices, more than 360 satisfied clients, partner and investor in 42 tech startups, the founder of AppLabb. Let's welcome the Appman, Kundan Joshi. Kundan, welcome to Bay Street Diary.
Thank you. I feel very welcomed.
Thank you. So Kundan, tell us about your journey. What exactly is AppLabb and what does AppLabb do?
Yeah, certainly. So the journey started about 12 years back when I started the AppLabb. It was days when it took me 2 hours to explain someone what an app is because iPhone didn't exist.
I'm sure.
So people didn't know what an app was. The terminology didn't exist. But we realized that there is something there. There's a great potential to create great experiences for individuals using this technology on your smartphone or your tablet. So that's where the journey started in essence. Today, what AppLabb is AppLabb is basically an organization that helps our clients create amazing, cutting-edge, transformative human experiences.
Right.
What that means is how are we really creating experiences for people that are increasing their productivity, increasing their efficiency, making their life more fulfilled in essence.
And easier too.
And easier as well through apps, through cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, IoT, and so on and so forth.
I'm going to come to those.
Certainly, certainly.
Okay, so Kundan, from 2007 to 2019, AppLabb has created more than 500 apps. So when you started AppLabb in 2007, did it ever come to your mind that it is too early to get into this field? You just mentioned that though. So what did you think about it then?
It was, again, our objective was always how do we use technology to create a great experience, right? So apps just seemed to be the right channel at that time, in essence. I had gone to this technology conference and I had just recently saw these new Microsoft tablets. They weren't called tablets back then. This is in 2000, circa 2006, 2007. And they had software which was very well aligned and so on. So I had looked at that and had thought, hey, you know what, we could probably solve some problems using this technology. And then we were in front of a client who wanted to find a solution that can help their employees train them a bit better. And we thought, hey, you know what, with an app, that could happen in a much better way. So we pitched it that this is, as I mentioned, took me 2 hours to explain what an app was, but eventually when they got it and when they saw what the benefit of that was, it was just very easy. So that's where the journey started. And then just the timing, I guess, where iPhone launched a few months after, and we just realized that, hey, you know what, this is something that's going to be really big. We really believe in really creating those experiences that are going to be in your hands, so that you can access anything, find a solution to your need at any time. So that's where, while it was early, the timing worked, and we jumped onto it. We focused all our efforts and energy there, and we are here today.
Perfect. Back then, not too many people believed that mobile app could be such a game changer for the industry. But
it was a risk. It was a risk for sure.
Okay, so a partner and investor in 42 tech startups. What does it take for Kundan Joshi to grow day in and day out? Does his clock offer him more than 24 hours in a day?
I wish. I don't sleep much, which is not a good thing, and I don't recommend that. But that's one of the factors there. What it takes for me to grow is an ongoing yearn and need to learn. The entrepreneurship is a journey where you find new obstacles, new challenges on a daily basis.
You learn every day.
You learn every day. So how do you convert those sometimes seemingly failures or roadblocks into opportunities to learn, into opportunities to grow is the key factor. None of us are perfect. None of us have answers to all the questions. But as life presents you those questions, how can you ingest them with a positive mindset and make sure you make something out of it, so that you're constantly learning as you go along your path.
Sure.
So it's about that. I mean, and every experience, whether it's every project, every partnership, every product that we've built is been a great experience for and learning experience for me as well as my team.
Sure.
But learning what those what those learning aspects are, learning what are the things that you're good at and you're not good at, and making sure you have the right team surrounding you.
Exactly.
That's better than you in each of those aspects that you're not good at, and even better than you on things that you're good at, is obviously the critical factor of building up a company that's large.
Right. What is that one thing that you look for in a founding team prior to deciding to partner or invest in any tech business?
For sure. So there are a few things, but if I was to drill down to one thing, that one thing would be a true passion to make the problem that the founder is trying to solve their life's mission. So someone who's really focused on solving a problem because they really believe that that problem has to be solved, and they're willing to make it their life's objective, right? So, and I mean, what happens is a lot of people are focused on the solution versus a problem. Now, the challenge with that is the solution could evolve. As you get to know the problem a bit better, as you get to know the people who are facing that problem a bit better, the solution is always an iterative part, and it'll keep on evolving, keep getting better. You'll keep learning of what your vision or what your idea is. But that true passion about really making sure that I want to solve that problem at any cost is something that I always look at, because if they have that, then they'll find ways to make it work.
Sure.
So that's the main one, but there are a few others. I mean, the second one being grit. Grit is extremely important as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And there are different ways that looking at their journey, looking at their career, do they really have it to stand their ground regardless of what the challenges they might face? Do they have it to go I mean, entrepreneurship is never going to be a rosy journey. So it's about those challenges will come in, those failures will come in.
So you should be ready to face them.
You should be ready to face them and willing to go the long haul, right? So that's the second one. And then the third one, I always look at some sort of subject matter expertise, whether are they really close to the clients, can they really relate to the customers that they're trying to solve the problem for, and have that industry expertise. Those are the things I look at as well.
Great. What I like is the major importance you give to passion, because as you said, people can still learn, but they need to have passion to go ahead. So Kundan, while investing or partnering with other startups, what is the exit policy that you plan in your mind? Do you look to invest long term? I mean, what is your formula there?
Yes, I always look to invest long term. Main reason being, again, the grit, right? I mean, if someone is actually looking to exit right away, that, hey, you know what, let me make my $1 million or a few million bucks and leave, there are two issues with that. One is your vision is short-sighted and you're not thinking of the solution through or thinking of the problem through. So it sort of makes you think in a very narrow lens. So that's one factor. So always look at someone who's trying to, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do, but my vision is big, bold, and grand. So that's extremely important. The second thing is, and I'm a big supporter of Canadian entrepreneurship ecosystem. We are building some platforms. We are working in various sectors to really make Canadian entrepreneurship thrive in many ways. And one challenge that we've seen with Canadian entrepreneurs is that need to exit very fast, as opposed to really building a unicorn, which is in tech terms $1 billion company. Really wanting to build that large company that is going to be extremely successful, going to be a market leader, going to revolutionize the industry and so on, right? So we are always looking for that big bold, and for that reason, I mean, if I ask them to have a big bold vision, but I want to leave much earlier or exit much earlier, it doesn't align, obviously. So when if I get my returns in a couple of years, I'll be very happy.
Sure.
But usually you need to have at least a 5 to 10 year strategy.
Sure, understandable. So what, as per you, is the importance of tech in today's time? Most businesses that I come across, they are largely dependent on tech. So what I want to understand is, does that narrow the scope of investments for the product-based businesses you have? And I say this because being a partner in 42 tech companies, AppLabb still hasn't invested in any sector other than the tech sector.
Yeah, so I mean, the way I look at it is, today technology is not a vertical anymore.
Okay.
I believe that every industry is a tech industry.
Right.
So you have a specialization in real estate or retail or whatnot,
Right.
but at the core you are a tech industry. If you're not part of being, if your organization is not a tech company in essence, then you're already far behind and you won't be able to catch up. So I look at tech being a critical part of every company that needs to scale, that is going to make an impact in the world. And I am only interested in investing in companies that are going to disrupt the industry that they're
Right.
in. So I'm looking at companies that are going to be the number one in their sector in the upcoming year. So for that reason, technology becomes a very important factor
Right.
for any investment that I have. Obviously, tech is what I know the best. Innovation is what I know the best. For that reason, tech investments come naturally to me. There are a few partnerships I have which are not tech,
Okay.
but I ended up making them into tech organizations eventually, anyways.
Okay.
So I mean, and again, for the same notion that I mentioned, every industry is tech. Hence, even the ones that are non-tech companies that I have investments in, they are either already tech companies or will be tech companies at some point.
Okay. Also, I'm curious to know that whatever companies you invest in, are you also involved in the strategic planning of those companies or just the back
Every
end?
time. Every time.
Okay.
So I rarely get involved just in terms of cash. I usually get involved in terms of really making sure that my strategic vision is aligned with the strategic vision of the companies that I'm working with.
That's very important.
So that alignment is extremely important. I mean, the reason we are able to make many investments and many partnerships and build many products is because they're all aligned.
Sure.
If you're all working towards the same goal,
Sure.
one positive impact, one momentum builder impacts and has a positive momentum on every single company that
Sure.
you're involved with. So that's very important for me to have all of them aligned, working towards. They may not be in the same sector, they may not be solving the same problem, but that alignment is very important. And internally, the way I've structured ourselves is we are still a very lean company, but we are able to manage that because, again, we are very aligned. In essence.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Kundan, what exactly is artificial intelligence in your words? One thing you want to educate or tell people about AI, which you think that nobody knows about?
Sure. I mean, AI has been creating a lot of buzz, so I don't know how many things people don't know about AI. But AI, in my words, is basically ability for computer systems to do tasks or make decisions, which usually will require human intelligence.
Okay.
So, I mean, computer systems in the past were used to solve problems, were used to do calculations, were used to process documents, so on and so forth. But the thing that was missing, and I mean, AI is, to be honest, existed for ever since computer systems have existed.
Right.
It's just that it wasn't powerful enough because it did not have the ability to process enough data at a fast enough speed that it can make those decisions,
Sure.
right? And AI powered decisions are basically associated with the amount of data and the amount of data that can be processed. So the big data revolution that preceded the AI revolution right now was one of the main reasons why we are now sitting on loads of data. In every company, every large and mid-tier company has a lot of data associated with their processes, with their clients, with everything that they store in essence. And AI has the ability to now look at that data, really understand what are the patterns associated with that data, and in simple terms make a prediction of what the end state would be. Now, whether you are on Netflix and AI is making a prediction of what show would you like to watch tomorrow,
right.
or what show would you want to save on your playlist for the weekend. So it's making that prediction and hence making a recommendation.
Right.
In a lot of some of the health systems that we are building is looking at the current health data of a patient and predicting what sort of diseases or what sort of health challenges they might face in the next week and upcoming months and so on.
So they look at the current data and they predict the future. That's what you mean to say.
Current data of that patient, current data of other patients or other users who have similar issues or across overall historic data. So there are all different forms of and layers of data that can be analyzed to again make the right recommendations and ensure that those recommendations or those predictions are personalized to the individual that we are trying to provide insights for. So that's in essence what AI is. I mean, in simpler terms, look at data. Data has inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
This is all the historic data. Now, let's give a new data set for an input for the future.
Sure.
Because you might think, hey, you know what, this something can happen tomorrow, and now predict the output for that particular data.
Wow, it's amazing to learn about this though. So is AppLabb majorly working in the field of AI? Just tell us in detail about your work and why do you think artificial intelligence is the future?
Yeah, certainly. So just like I mentioned, technology is every sector now. Similarly, AI is part of every sector. Every sector, in order to be technologically advanced, needs to have data, needs to create data, needs to store data, and just having data is of no use unless there is intelligence and insights associated with it. That's where AI comes in place. So every industry is poised to be an AI industry now. And how does AI play a role in making sure that you are more aligned with your customers, that you're providing the best possible product is the key part. So where we come in is as we mentioned, our core objective is making human experiences better. So we look at AI's ability of AI or the power of AI to creating better experiences.
So what is the difference between artificial intelligence and virtual reality? The way I see it, AI is huge, but I believe virtual reality is making its space in the industrial sector across the globe. So what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, so there are different technology paradigms. So the way we define it is we talk about intelligent emerging technologies and we talk about immersive emerging technologies. So intelligent, I already mentioned what AI is in terms of looking at the data and creating those insights and so on. When it comes to immersive, it's more about that experience of how you experience a software functionality or an application and how can we transform that experience. So virtual reality, augmented reality, these are technologies which just make that experience a lot more realistic. So virtual reality, for example, in our innovation lab, we can give you a tour of, is where you can put on these headsets and you can get a full experience completely simulated. So you mentioned manufacturing. So we're working with some manufacturing clients where you're coming on board as a new employee to the company. Before stepping into the plant, which again might require training, which there might be security risks and so might be hazards and so on. Let's get you that virtual experience where you feel that you're virtually stepping into the plant. You are doing certain interactions, pulling certain levers, whatever actions you are doing, but in the virtual world. So you're getting that experience of actually tackling those surroundings in the virtual world, and through that experience, again, you are training faster or you're just getting a better ability. I mean, we do a lot of work in real estate, for example, where the condo is not built yet. We haven't even laid the bricks, the foundation work yet. But how can we give you that experience of what that condo or what that house is going to be when it's built? So that's sort of, again, just giving you that experience based on renderings, based on 3D CAD drawings and 3D files and so on. We just create that experience so that you can experience that. More than virtual reality, actually augmented and mixed reality is really taking shape, where in virtual reality, you are in a confined environment. So this is, you're transporting yourself because your eyes are closed. You can't see the world around you. So you're getting transported into this new environment in a sense, which has its own play, as I mentioned, simulation and so on. But with augmented reality, you get that experience while still seeing the surroundings. So in the same experience that I mentioned, like imagine being in that factory floor where you are pulling levers and so on, but maybe we can simulate that in this room. So I can actually walk around, go to that corner and I see that lever and I pull that lever and I go around to this corner and do something else. Or even better, I'm actually in the factory floor and as I approach that particular lever in the real world, I get a superimposed layer that tells me how should I use that lever, how can I interact with it. Now that's where AI comes in place and they merge very beautifully, because understanding that object in real life, telling the system that, hey, you know what, this object needs to be interacted in a certain way and providing that guidance to the user, that's where, again, AI can make certain decisions and recommendations for users as well.
So having catered to 360 plus clients and already being at a point where you made a mark in the industry, what is the next step for Kundan Joshi? What are your future plans?
So, I mean, for us, the way we measure ourselves is by the impact that we are creating versus the number of projects we do or the revenue we bring in for ourselves or whatnot. So for us is about what's the tangible impact that we are creating in the world. in people's lives. So we are working on some really transformative projects right now, such as where we are helping mental health patients get the right help at the right time, so we can help more people.
Wow.
And create that impact, tangible impact directly in the lives of people who need the help the most. We are creating a lot of diagnosis apps that can help us understand the current health situation
Right.
of the patient, of the user, and provide prediction of how really can we ensure that they live a fulfilling life, they live a healthy life. So those are some of the projects where we are tangibly creating great
Right.
experiences and having an impact. I mean, those examples of healthcare, even from the community point of view, we are creating platforms which are really creating the entire tech community or startup community in Canada a much more stronger community by giving them real-time access to investors, to suppliers, to employees, just creating great communities so that we can overall uplift the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Canada. So these are the projects which really take us in a way, because we see the end impact on the users.
Right.
And we are part of that revolution. We are part of that transformation.
You seem to be doing a great job, though, especially in the medical field. So, Kundan, you've won and also been nominated for numerous awards in the entrepreneurial world. So, the upcoming entrepreneurs who are willing to pursue their career in tech, you are basically a role model for them. What is one message you have for them?
So, I mean, I sort of mentioned it earlier as well, but think when you are trying to pursue your entrepreneurship venture, so at the very early stages, the idea stage, I really encourage you to think that the problem that you're trying to solve, are you willing to make solving that problem your life's mission?
Okay.
Because how purposefully, and whether you're passionate or not, are you really driven by that purpose of solving that problem? It has an impact on so many levels. One is, as an entrepreneur, there are always ups and downs. But that's one factor, that purpose, that why. If you've solved it right at the beginning, where you know what, in deeply inside my gut, I know that I have to solve this problem. If I don't solve this problem, I can't believe the world that will be without the solution.
Yeah.
So when that fire exists in your belly, it ensures that even when the trajectory is going south, when you're going through
Yeah.
failures and so on, that's something that's going to make you, that will make you jump up from the bed even in the morning, especially in cold nights. If things are not going well in winters in Canada, it's very difficult to get up in the morning. So that's going to help you there. In terms of creating the right positive culture, it plays a huge, when you're a purpose-driven organization, when you're a purpose-driven leader, the kind of culture that you'll create, the kind of employees that you'll attract will be at a totally different level than otherwise. Likewise with the kind of clients you'll attract, the kind of investors or stakeholders you'll attract. So that's one thing that I always recommend, and that I would recommend to entrepreneurs to just have a check on that.
Okay.
And sometimes it can be reactive as well, but if it's at the beginning, it's always the most fruitful and the easiest.
Sure. Folks, that was tech at its best. It's always great to know how things work at back end. Kundan, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing with us the insights of tech industry, and more importantly, taking us into your app world. I feel so happy today.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Friends, I'll see you next week with another mastermind from Ontario. Till then, keep following us and do spread love.